All right, just closed here on the trading day. So we'll take a look at where Q, SPY, and IWM finished up. We'll also take a look at some of today's trades, and we'll look at some of today's non-trades as well. Some of the gaps, very significant gaps, just because I'm noticing that gap size is really important right now. Gaps that are gapping significantly beyond where they need to gap to break support or resistance are providing for really sloppy charts and just good to be avoided. Okay, so we'll take a look at some examples as well as good size gaps to compare. Let's get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for August 11th, 2021. Q is basically flat, down 0.17%. SPY up 0.25% there. IWM up 0.5%. So kind of the most bullish of the three as far as just today's price action. Impressive recovery there. We are anticipating that eventually the IWM would like to make its way back up to the top of the base. It's already ended the downtrend that it was in on the daily. So that's what we're anticipating. Qs and SPY remain bullish, uptrend on the daily. But so far, especially the SPY day after day, really narrow range bar, narrow range, and then sometimes it puts in new all-time highs. So Qs and SPY remain bullish. All right, and then IWM remains neutral, but we're still looking to see if this wants to break above the consolidation now and get this trend to start moving up here. So far, we've been neutral for the IWM for quite a while, as in a couple weeks now, and you can see why. It just it's not really going anywhere, but the longer it bases, the more bullish, actually, as long as we base in this area, not basing down here, for instance. Okay. All right. Let's start off with taking a look at some of the gaps from today. Yeah. All right. So like I said, the really large gaps are not really providing much opportunity. Let's take a look at this W, for instance. W really only needed to gap to maybe 28.50 or so underneath the base. Can also clear here. Even that's getting to be pretty big. I think the gap on this ended up being around 26%, but it's not the percentage in absolute terms. It's relative to where it's gapping to on the chart is what we're looking at. So even to 25.50. So this ended up opening at 23.60. And you can see it ended up putting a narrow body bar there. Narrow body bar, and got bought a little bit. Now there is some support there to the left, but this is a pro gap. This is something that we would only really be looking to play short unless it went climactic. Okay, now the APPH went a little bit climactic, especially if you include the pre-market chart. It accelerated a little bit there into the bottom. Tried to break down and then couldn't. So, something like this, you can look to play long, pretty aggressive, but you can see how oversized the gap is also. Okay, really, to make this a good gap, only needs to gap to around 11. Okay, gapped way beyond that. All right, so what ends up happening in that situation? Longs are less likely to want to give up on the position, right? Because the position is to the point where maybe it doesn't feel salvageable. It's already down so much. What's the point? And then shorts have also kind of missed their entry point. Okay, so as a result, these don't get quite the follow through that we're looking for on a really bearish gap, right? This is pretty bearish. Gapping down new all-time lows. Okay, that APPH. Let's see, where did the ONTF end up? ONTF, here's the base, gapping way beyond. Okay, so what would a good gap look like, right? Look at this OU, right? Only needed to gap above this base. Still gives a chance. It's still a good entry point for longs, right? Still worth covering if maybe you're in it short. We're not gapping up to 125, like a significant percentage above the resistance. Okay, so that leaves a lot of opportunity still for follow through. Now, sometimes we'll get these really large gaps. I think even FEYE on Friday was a little bit oversized, right? Only needed to probably gap to 1920. In some environments, we get that, and it just keeps on going. That's fine. It ended up opening here. But especially this week, the really big gaps, STC yesterday, here's where it needed a gap to underneath the base, gapped far beyond, are either getting bought or just not really following through all that well. You can see this isn't really that big of a bar, and what we're looking for are these kind of bars, right? These are the ones, and this was really nice. This had a breakout in the morning, and hourly keeps you in until the very end where it closes at the absolute top of the day. So that's nice. And then here's the breakout from this morning. If I had seen this earlier, could have played maybe over this base, but this ended up being just the base from the morning. Kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Okay. So nice and bullish on the U. Let's look at a bearish example because we looked at those other gap downs that were way too big. All right. Look at the size on the Posh. Okay. Posh, right, is not gapping significantly below. So how far is too far? What I'll do is look at what the average range for this stock is, right? You can use like ATR or whatever you want. And let's say we come up with maybe about $3, $3.50, okay, is the average range on this. If it's gapping beyond support, of course, if it's gapping right to support or just under it by a couple pennies or something like that, that's perfect. But in this case, I think we're gapping 32.95, opens at 30.50, about $2 beyond, where the support might be. And you can even maybe look to the left here to confirm, that's kind of where it needs to gap below. And if it's within a day's range, an average day, then I think that's okay. Size is not an issue. I'll give it, when rating the gap in the morning, full credit for the size of the gap. Okay, the only thing on this Posh was that it was kind of spready, and I did miss the reentry. We talked about yesterday what happens on shakeouts and how to get back in them, right? And so I did try this on this breakdown here and killed it over this bar. We got a little bit of pause, so I lost a little bit on this. And then here's where kind of, if I had stuck with the original stop, that's where I think it got taken out by like 8 cents or so, which on this, which had 15, 20 cent spread, sometimes actually maybe doesn't really get you out. I think even the numbers I gave in the room were like 30-30. So even if you had your stop at 30-30, you wouldn't have got tagged out. But if you did get tagged out, right, and this you can see if you can answer if you're paying attention yet to yesterday, okay, what are you looking for? Okay, what are you looking for? Let's say, this is a good gap. You think it's really bearish. You got this, bar that just got you out. What are you looking for? Okay. And did you get it? Okay, here, that's the next bar. And would you be back in now? Right. So you get the bar that got you out. You get an inside bar, right? And then you get back in underneath the inside bar. Stop goes above wherever the shakeout bar, which in this case, like I said, if you use the original numbers, still be in. I think at this point, I'd already moved on to go look at something else. I think this probably around the time maybe you was triggering or something. I don't even remember seeing that shakeout bar. And but that was the chance to get back in on the Posh. There was another breakdown here, kind of interesting. I felt like it was a little bit too late. So after that initial kind of move in the morning, I didn't retry it. And then even the afternoon here had another sell setup. Okay, so that's what I'm noticing is the size of the gap seems to be making a big difference. Here's another one, CWBR. Okay, really only need to gap to 150 or so, gap to $2. Now that's 50 cents, but 50 cents for something that on an average day only moves 15 cents, right, is way too big. Okay, so, and it's not always this case. Sometimes the large gaps still follow through. Yeah, this kind of just borderline novice on that one. I'm just looking at the big gap ups now. UPST did hold, gapped up into resistance, a little bit too big, but not too bad, not as oversized as some of the others. So what I'm noticing, what's kind of providing for better opportunities is the good gaps, also the good gaps that aren't too big. Okay. We'll keep an eye on that moving forward. It's something I noticed on Monday also. And so coming into today, I was a little bit more picky. And, hopefully we don't get the rest of the week just all these oversized gaps. Because I was expecting us to be a busier today. If you asked me on Monday, how busy would I be? On Wednesday, I would not say I only took 2 trades. Okay. So, hopefully it's not just a bunch of really big gaps that we get for the rest of the week. But we'll see. All right. We kind of have to adjust with what's out there. So we'll see. We still got plenty on the earnings list that I saw. Some of them are starting to get a little bit thinner, so just be careful about spread. Okay. And liquidity. Okay. All right. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Hope you did well today. Talk to you tomorrow.